So the Bauer brothers were working for Joseph Banks. So Joseph Banks was a naturalist that was at first in one of the Cook's expedition, right? I think before he got killed, I guess, right? I mean, not the last one, right? But he was with Cook, right? And eventually he became the director of the Kew Gardens, Banks, Joseph Banks, right? And was wealthy, was had money, and he was financing. That of course the money was coming from the Queen, right, from the King, financing expeditions to explore the world and find botanical specimens, animals, etc.
It was the beauty, yes, it was an extra bonus, but it was not necessarily the beauty of the plant that the English were studying. It was the use of the plant. How can we use the plant? As you know, there's been the famous orchid war, right? The orchid war, where all these scientists, botanists, they were start competing with each other to see who would discover the most orchids. And same thing for paleontologists, right? But they sabotage each other, etc. And books have been written about these, the new researches that would bring fame to the scientists that would discover the new species. But the English were studying these plants also to see if they could exploit them financially, right? They're making money off of it. So these expeditions had artists and gardeners on board. So it was quite an interesting, were quite interesting enterprise to send somebody on boats in the tropical seas in Australia, far away from motherland, and then risk their lives to paint and collect plants, right? So the Bauer brothers, as I already maybe hinted you to already, were from Austria. And they started working for the Kew Gardens, for Banks, Joseph Banks. And one of the two brothers, I think Ferdinand, was, I can't remember which was on the boat. One was Franz and was the other one Ferdinand, right? So Franz Ferdinand, right? One was on the boat, going to Australia, going to Brazil and whatnot, and the other one was in the Kew Garden. And they were together preparing these beautiful, beautiful images that were then collected and used for various purposes, to be studied botanically. But they also wanted to make books, like Audubon, right? Audubon was making these books to be sold. I mean, it just was a beautiful collection, but these works, they required a lot of money to transform the watercolor of Audubon into engraving. Audubon per se did not do the engraving, an engraver would do the engraving. And engraving was very, very expensive, right? So each book of Audubon was costing quite a lot of money, and people would pay in advance to finance the operation and then receive the book with the print. In the case of the Bauers, though, what happened is engraving by this time here, toward the end of 1700, engraving became exceedingly expensive. Nobody really could afford it. And I mean, they could, but there was really no much profit to be made. So they started doing this in lithography. These are lithographs. Lithographs, in my opinion, are better than engravings, but nobody else thinks so, right? So fine. I'll be the one that says, yeah, that's me, right? But lithograph, as you know, lithographos, the drawing on the stone, right, is like a pencil, a fat pencil that the artist would draw on the stone, and then that greasy substance will prevent the acid to etch into the stone, and then you have some sort of a matrix that you can use to print the image. Because you're using a pencil, even a greasy pencil, a fat pencil, you have line that can be very similar to drawing with a pencil on a piece of paper, and of course this would be then eventually colored, etc. So these works that are in this book are a collection of these beautiful plants that they were collected during the various expeditions of the Bauer, where the Bauer brothers were embarked, and they were not just plants, right? Also fish. Look how beautiful these are, right? So we'll have occasion to copy a few of these, but I would like to start with this work that I gave you, Gloxinia, and I looked it up, the Gloxinia, and the modern Gloxinia is really nothing like this one, but that's what I call it. So we'll call it Gloxinia 2, right?